I do not own the rights to this music. Hello, and welcome to Sunday School Summary with Brother Ron. Sunday School lesson for Sunday, December the 31st, 2023. Our reference material for the Sunday School Summary is based upon the International Sunday School Lesson Series as published by the Sunday School Publishing Board. We are discussing Faith That Pleases God as the title of the Winter Lesson Series, and it reviews the nature and application of faith and provides examples and observations of faith in action as applied to our relationships and our lives. And in today's lesson, it is the faith of the wise men. The Faith That Pleases God lesson series is categorized into 3 units or groups of lessons, and we are in Unit 1, and we are discussing profiles in faith. The title of our 5th lesson in the Unit 1 Winter 2023-24 lesson series is titled Taking Risks and Reaping Rewards. The faith of the wise man reveal the Christ child to the world. Our key verse comes from Matthew chapter 2, verse 2, and it reads, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it arose and have come to worship him." And that is the inquiry of the wise men. The title of today's lesson, Taking Risk and Reaping the Rewards, from the book of Matthew, the study of the Gospel of Matthew, the tax collector and converted disciple of Jesus Christ. The setting for today's lesson occurs during the reign of King Herod, and concerns the prophecy by the prophet Micah that the birth of Jesus or the Messiah will occur in Bethlehem. A priestly group of scholars known as Magi or wise men, most likely from Persia or modern-day Iran, notices an unusual star in the heavenly orbit. These men were astrologers of sorts and looked for meaning in the stars. These wise men were aware of Jewish prophecy concerning the Messiah and set out to seek the truth by following the light of this star, which brings us to today's lesson. There are 2 summary lesson points for today. Seeking the King, and that's from Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 8. Worshiping the King, and that's from Matthew chapter 2, verses 9 through 12. The passages for the lesson today revolve around the key words faith, Messiah, and King. We know that faith is the complete trust, assurance, belief, or confidence in God. It is the wise men's faith that the star will guide them to worship and pay homage to the birth of Christ in today's lesson. Messiah is a Hebrew word that means anointed person and is translated as Christ in the Greek language. God promised the Jewish people that the Messiah would come to rescue them and be their king. And Jesus reveals God's plans in the birth of Jesus in today's lesson. King is a ruler of a political entity or realm. Jesus' birth fulfills the prophecy of a king or a Messiah that would come, that God would send to rule over Israel in today's lesson. In our first summary lesson point, seeking the King from Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 8. And in these passages, it begins that the time was the time of King Herod. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, that Magi, or wise men from the east, came to Jerusalem. And their purpose was to ask, where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star in the east and have come to pay homage. And King Herod heard this. He was very frightened, and all of Jerusalem with him, because he thought it was a threat to his power. And he planned to address this threat to his power through the killing of the baby Jesus. So he called the wise men together, and they told him that the birth would occur in Bethlehem of Judea, as written by the prophet. And in Bethlehem, the prophecy goes that Bethlehem in the land of Judah by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel. So that was the prophecy, and Herod secretly called the Magi and learned the exact time when they had seen the star. And then he sent them on to Bethlehem on their mission to find the Christ child. And he wanted to know from the Magi where the child was, so that he allegedly could come and pay homage to the Christ child. However, Herod's motives were to kill the child. So he sent them to Bethlehem, and he says, go and search diligently for this child. And when you found him, bring word that I may pay homage to him. Worshiping the King is our second and final summary point for today, and that's from Matthew chapter 2, verses 9 through 12. And in these passages, the Magi, when they had heard the king or listened to the king instructions, they set out, and again that star appeared. And there ahead of them went the star again that they had seen in the east, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy, because they had found the truth of the light, the birth of Jesus Christ, and introduced to the world, to the Jewish people, and to the Gentiles of the world. And it goes on to say that they entered the house and saw the child with his mother, and they knelt and paid him homage. And they opened their gifts that they had brought him. And they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gold representing the king, and frankincense representing the priestly knowledge, and myrrh representing the sacrificial death on the cross and the resurrection. And the wise men, after having paid homage, they received a dream from God that the motives of King Herod were not pure. So based upon the direction and inspiration of God, they took an alternate route back to the east, thwarting the plans of King Herod to kill the baby Jesus. This is Brother Ron with the Sunday School lesson for Sunday, December the 31st, 2023. Happy New Year, and we hope to see you next year for another edition of Sunday School Summary with Brother Ron.